Okay, we'll just say a small prayer. Guru Stotra Heli. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranatakkleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. So, we were in Skanda 3, and if you remember, 23rd chapter, we were discussing about how Devahuti, who is daughter of uh, Kardama Prajapati and Shatarupa. Prajapati is born out for Brahma, and Devahuti is born to Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa. Our Magalu Devahuti. Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa, they had 5 children, 3 daughters. Out of them, Devahuti was one of them. And Kardam Prajapati was a great saint who used to do a lot of tapas, 10,000 years of austerity he has done on the bank of river Saraswati. And after that, that means their lifespan, as I said, was quite long. And after that, uh, he has actually darshan of Lord Vishnu, and he says, I will be born to you as Kapila, and therefore you will have to marry daughter of Manu and Shatarupa. They will be approaching you, just be ready. Then he agrees, and so they come, and then before that, Brahma brings 9 rishis to get. Kardama already has 9 daughters. So Brahma also comes, and he says, these are all the rishis, and we have to increase the progeny of this world and on this earth, and therefore you need to get your daughters married to all these rishis, and therefore so many gotra adella ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರೋದು. Kala, Anasuya, look at the names. Kala, Marichi gets married to Marichi. Anasuya gets married to Atri. Shraddha gets married to Angiras. Then Havirabhu gets married to Pulastya. Gati gets married to Pulaha. Kriya gets married to Kratu. Khyati gets married to Bhrigu. Arundhati gets married to Vashishta, and Shanti gets married to Yajna. He has named his daughters like this. See? Kala, Anasuya, Shraddha, Havirabhu, Gati, Kriya. Very interesting names, Allah. Pratyondano, they have got their unique qualities. Each one represents a very unique quality. So, after their marriage, all of them leave. All of them left to their respective families. Brahma also leaves with other rishis. Now, Narada also probably. Kardama now he is relieved, actually. Responsibilities mugitu anta. He has completed his responsibilities. And if you remember, he wants to go back and become a sannyasi as planned, which he had discussed with his wife before marriage. And she had agreed to. But if you remember, before this happened, he would have told that I want to become sannyasi. Andaga Devahuti says, now the daughters will leave, you are going to leave. Now who will be with me? How can I live alone? Hey, having said that, Devahuti asks him to give a son for her. So Kardama stays back, and then he remembers Lord Vishnu's, darshan. He would have seen him, and Lord Vishnu had told him that I'll be born to you as your son. And then he's considered as one of the avatar. So Kapila is born to Devahuti. And if you remember, when during her gestational period also, when she was pregnant, the entire the atmosphere on this earth was totally different. It was very beautiful, very pleasant, because after all, Vishnu is taking birth as Kapila. So now Kapila is born, and Kardama, now he prostrates before that young Kapila, small Kapila, very small. And then he says, I'm so thankful to you, and I feel you are obliging me by taking birth in such an unworthy family. Are we so eligible to have you as our son? I really doubt. See, he has done penance for 10,000 years. Still, he says, we may not be so eligible. Still, you have blessed me, and you have taken birth in my family. So, Kapila says that you are definitely a person with high spiritual practices, and your wife also is equally she is very, very competent person in this matter, and therefore this has been the most ideal place for me to take birth. Not only that, he says, but the purpose of my birth, if you remember, this is considered to be one of the 24 avatars. Apart from Dashavatar, there are 24 other small, small avatars if you consider. And it is said to be a fourth avatar. Some it has been not in this another reference. Probably uh, before this, the avatars were Varaha Avatara, Matsya Avatara, Kurma Avatara. That this may be the fourth one. I don't know. Vamana Avatara probably comes after this. So he says the purpose now is everybody is born now. People are going to take birth everywhere. Hidden. I'm just telling the background. So this through this birth, through this avatar, my purpose is to elaborate on the path to realize the Atman. So Kapila Upadesha comes as Kapila Gita. ನೀವು ಅವತ್ತು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಉದ್ಧವ ಗೀತಾ and Ashtavakra Gita. Kapila Upadesha also comes as Kapila Gita. Kapila Gita is what song. So Kapila has first in the Kapila Avatara, Krishna has brought out, and as Indira pointed out, the Sankhya Yoga, Sankhya philosophy has come here, and he goes on elaborating this to his own mother. So, I mean, through her, we all know. So, he says the purpose of this birth is to elaborate on the path that is taken to realize self-realization, which has deteriorated over time, which has got deteriorated over time. I just read that this thing, shloka. This is now we are going with chapter 24. This is chapter 24. He says, Nashtaha Kalena Bhuyasa, Esha Atmapatho, 37th shloka. In this chapter says, Esha Atmapatho Avyakto Nashtaha Kalena Bhuyasa, Tam Pravartaitum Dehamimam Vidhimaya Bhrutam. With this avatar, Dehamimam means, with this avatar, I am going to explain, or I am going to propose the path for realization of Atman. Very beautiful, actually. Kapila's, step by step, he has explained. Then he says to Kardama, now you can leave. Look at that. Yeshto, how much of detachment. He says, as a father, now you can go. That was your wish, Kardama Prajapati. You can go and you can become a sannyasi. Go and practice and see me in your meditation, rigorous meditation, and set yourself free. And I shall impart the same knowledge to my mother. And so, saying he uh, gives permission to Kardama, and Kardama leaves home, of course, with the consent of his wife, who would have definitely consented now that she has got a very, what I should say, unexpected event in her life is Vishnu himself being born as her son. What else she needs? And she is also looking forward to hear from Kapila. What else? That's what. Like Arjuna asked, Arjuna was so delighted to listen to Bhagavad Gita from Krishna. Now she is very much interested. 25th chapter. Kapila continues to stay in the, it is called Bindu Saras, Saraswati river, but part of that was very beautiful, it seems. So he continues, and now Devahuti approaches Kapila and she asks him. Kapila is little grown up now. So he says, see, all these days, Devahuti, if you remember, I had told you several years she serves her husband with lot of, devotion and without any expectation. And then her husband obliges and he takes her, he gets a palace designed for her. He takes her to one place, a secluded place where they have good life, and then they come back and she enjoys that life of a householder. And then Kardama gives up. So the ability of these people to quickly switch on, switch off. They have enjoyed the maximum. As I told you, it was almost like a honeymoon. It seems they went on the aeroplane, Vimana type of house. A house itself was like an aeroplane. If you remember, there is one restaurant in Bangalore. It seems it is just like an aeroplane. Have you heard? WhatsApp nal bandittu. The restaurant is built like an aeroplane. And you have seats there. Banerghata. I will share that. So Kardama also designed something like that for his wife. Huge. And then it's a mobile house. It used to go to different places. He gave her all the luxuries which an ordinary woman would love. He did not disappoint her. Look at that. Whenever he wants, he becomes a sannyasi. He does for 10,000 years and then he gives her this luxury. And again, he says, I'm going to become a sannyasi. Mind control ಅನ್ನೋದು ಯಾವ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕಿತ್ತು ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಅಂತ. So now Devahuti also, she has decided now husband is not there. Not that she wants to get into spiritual life. So she says to Kapila, she says, all this while my life was with infatuation. Andre passion, lust. I had that infatuation. She admits that. I had infatuation and I was helpless by the pull of these sense organs. I was helpless. Andre, I could not control. How hard I tried. I could not. ಮಗನಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾಳ ಅವಳು, ಮಗ, the son is a god, but he's so young. And she tells that. And then free me from this. Now you have come. I want to get rid of these indriya, pull of these senses. I just want to control them, get rid of them, go over them, and then, of course, liberate myself. So free, she doesn't use that. Step by step, they have taken. So free me from this notion that I am the body and this is mine. Nanu nannadu annod ahankaradinda. Ahankara speaks of me and mine, awareness of me and mine is also enlighten me about Prakriti and Purusha. So she surrenders to him just as Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. So Vishnu in every avatar, it's very nice gesture on the part of Vishnu. He has created and then he knows that time to time I need to come down and in some context I need to talk about this which gets documented and which will help the generations, because now only he says with the time, with the time it has gone. Nashtaha kalena bhuyasa. With the time it has become diluted. People are not aware, though it was told earlier also. So she says that. Then Kapila says, I shall teach the whole concept of Sankhya philosophy. Then he starts. If the mind is attached to gunas, it will create bondage. But if it feels delighted to be in the presence of God, then definitely there is liberation. If the mind is attached to gunas, what are the three gunas? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So as long as that is Prakriti, so gunas means Prakriti. As long as our mind is within, it is dwelling in these gunas, whether it is tamasic, sattvic or rajasic, all of them, even sattvic guna also, if we are in that guna means as long as we identify, I am sattvic, I am rajasic, you might have moved from the lowest to the highest. But still, if you, as long as you identify that I am this body and I am doing this, I am doing that, then you are in the Prakriti only. This body mind complex is entirely Prakriti. Please try to understand, because Kapila wants us to understand this through these slokas. So as long as you are in those gunas, it may be very difficult for us. Now, what is that guna and all that? Too much of scientific technicality and consider. Just be if you, on the other hand, if you're delighted to be with God, so just if you turn your mind towards God and higher things first to start with, and God, Bhagavantan ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಬಂದ್ರೆ, then it will automatically take us towards liberation. First thing he says. And as long as, next he says, if you identify yourself with this body, me and mine, me and mine, I and mine, nanu nannadu, if you do that, then it invariably results in lust and greed. When we say me, we identify with the body and the bodily requirements. That is lust. And mine, idu nandu, adu nandu. This is mine, this is mine. Possessiveness. A possession bantu antandre, greed will come. This applies not only to the materialistic possessions, but it also applies to the relations. Isn't it? When you are attached, when you say my husband, my son, my daughter-in-law, what happens is, rather than the love, my friend, my mother, we become very much obsessed or possessed with that, because we identify that relationship with this body. So it is my mother, Pratibha's daughter. So then what happens is, the greed comes under greed and possession, greed for materialistic objects and possessiveness for the relationships. Then anything that goes, that becomes a very kind of a delusion, moha. It's not a real love. It becomes like obsession, possession. Then what happens is, we are moving away from the God and we try to find happiness in those relationships. Relationship become the primary. Then we are living very much in the gunas. Gunas only. Guna, rajasic guna, tamasic gunagalu andre attachment. So he says, if you live in that feeling of I and mine, and means identifying with this body, then greed and lust will come. They're exactly the same thing. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say, no, kama kanchana, precisely the same. Lust and greed. Kama andre bodily, because your body is there, you want kama, because always we are aware of our body. So then he says, if you are freed, then you will become, there is equanimity, and equanimity means moderation, balanced. So when we try to release ourselves from this concept of I and mine with relation to this body and this mind, as we try to remove, then equanimity will come. How to remove? Go towards God. That is what he has told. Then does this jiva andre, the consciousness, or the, now he's going towards that jiva in our body, there is jiva with as you start with learning, knowledge, devotion, renunciation, jnana, bhakti, vairagya. Always we ask this. Jnana is knowledge, then bhakti is devotion, and vairagya is detachment or renunciation towards all the worldly pleasures or distraction. Anything that comes on the way of our goal, if we reject, that becomes renunciation. The jiva with this will then experience the ultimate truth. Anta Kapila helta idan. Beautiful, but it is an abstract. It is no longer the story based, but he wants us to go to, just like Sankhya Yoga, 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, experiences the truth. Exactly, he says, what is told in Bhagavad Gita. So, jnana, bhakti, vairagya. Then, for one to aspire this higher thing, there is no other path than devotion. Every time he brings, and devotion is a concept, whether it is Advaita or Dvaita, wherever you go, this bhakti becomes a very, very important aspect. So he says there's nothing other than bhakti for one who wants to attain the highest state or Brahman state. There is no, or truth, there is no other path other than bhakti. So, na yujyamanaya bhaktya, Bhagavatya khilatmani, ninth shloka of this chapter. He says, Sadrushosti Shivaha Pantha Yoginam Brahma Siddhaye. One who wants to attain the state of Brahman, there is no other path other than devotion. Devotion means bhakti and faith, both. Bhakti means love towards God and faith in that process, which we discussed. Unless you have Shraddha, nothing will happen. So, going, he has told these steps, no? I and mine you have to leave, and do not be in the gunas, move towards God. If you feel delighted in the presence of God or in the presence, next he talks about other things also. So if you feel that, then the truth is nearer, and as you start traveling there, if the jiva has got knowledge, jiva means that bundle of our consciousness or atma within jivatma with buddhi and all that, which is trapped in that our ಮನಸ್ಸು ಇಂದ್ರಿಯ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಪ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದಲ್ಲ, that is called jiva, that whole complex. So he says, when you do that, then you can reach, and intense devotion is required. And again he says, intense attachment to the objects of senses will bring bondage and sorrow. Many times we all know that, we have been talking about Bhagavad Gita also. So too much of obsession, attachment means again obsession, when we cannot live without it, or we are engaged in the external world assuming that that is the truth. These are the causes for bondage, these are the causes for sorrow, because as he said, all this means when you're living in the world means you're attached to your guna. Guna means we become obsessed with our own nature. I am like this, I am like that, I will not change in whatever it is, and awareness of the always being aware of this body. So he says, in such case, get attached to holy men. So one of the path, if you remember in Bhagavad beginning also we said visit the holy places. Now Kapila is bringing one more. He says, get attached or come in contact or be in the company of sadhus or holy men. That would also lead to liberation. You may not be able to sit and meditate, no, but there is somebody. What happens is our mind, we are growing. And directly, if you want to sit in front of God, Saguna or Nirguna, it may not be possible. But there is somebody who represents God in his fullest form. Most of his qualities, attributes are there. So you spend time with such people repeatedly, then you will the speed or the path is faster. So he says, spend time with them, and you have to get liberated. So now, who is a sadhu? He says, he defines. So after all this, then he says, who is a sadhu? So intense, now after this, holy man is one who has titiksha. Titiksha, he has given description of holy men. All these qualities have also come in the 12th chapter. He describes what is devotion, who is holy man. Here, let us see who are all the holy people. We also need to, why should we interact with holy people? So that we imbibe those qualities. So he says, Titikshavaha, 21st verse, Titikshavaha, Karunikaha, Suhrudaha, Sarvadehinam, Ajatashatravaha, Shantaha, Sadhavaha, Sadhubhushana, Mayyananyena, Bhavena, Bhaktim Kurvanti Ye Dridam, Matkrute, Tyakta Karmanaha, Tyakta Swajana Bandhavaha, Madashrayaha, Katha, Mrishtaha, so many things he says. Shrunvanti, Kathayanti cha, Tapanti, Vividhastapa, Naitan Madgata Chetasaha, Ta ete Sadhavaha, Sadhvi, Sarva Sangha Vivarjitaha, Sangasteshvatha te Prarthyaha, Sangha Dosha Harahite. So he says, what are the qualities of these holy men? This is when you want to spend time, you should look for these qualities. Only then they are qualified as sadhu or sannyasi. What are those? Titiksha. These people are very patient. Holy people should not be angry when you ask any doubts. No, they ideally I'm saying, they don't. They just smile because they have got control over the anger, and also they are very patient in listening to the doubts or difficulties of people who go to them. So that is one. And then he says karunikaha, that is compassion, full of affection for the fellow beings. Suhridaha means they're friendly. Friendly means they should be approachable. You cannot have a sadhu or somebody who's so unapproachable that there are thousands of people waiting to talk to him and he's not available. No, we cannot, because where is the company there? Where is the intimacy there? We need to go and sit with them, interact with them, not online or something from far off. Such sadhus should be available. So he should have, holy men, ideally they are. Why we should go to holy men? Because they are patient, they are compassionate, they understand your problem, and they solve it with a lot of affection. And why do they solve? Because they are unbiased. They are very, very unbiased. So when in 30 years back, I have been telling this example, my own example. So when we were young, when we got married, so we were both very energetic. Both are looking like, intellectuals and all. Nandagbaku, Nandagbaku until we used to have conflicts. We went to a sadhu only, actually, because who has to give? My parents, his parents cannot give because both will be biased. No, I and my daughter, my son. That's the usual. So that holy person gave us such a nice advice. He said the husband and wife are like one unit. They are like one unit. And a person who has little more spiritual thing, no, they should take the first step and they should give up. And then the other person will automatically come down. Sudhamurti also tells the same thing. When two husband and wife, when both are, when one person is angry, other one should be silent. Means that much of control we should have at that moment. Otherwise, when you are angry, it's very difficult to control. So a holy person is compassionate and friendly, and actually unbiased he should be. He should not be favoring. This holy person was known to me, but that person was so clever, and he was so a true person that he said, truth is that you are so much impatient. He pointed out. He pointed out at me, though I was the person who was more familiar with him. He said, no, there is something with you. You should be. So holy persons are those who give decisions or judgments at a higher level. They will see what is right, not who is closer to me. So he says that they should be suhridaha. They are. Means Kapila is saying, go to holy people because they have titiksha, they have karuna, they are suhridaha, and suhridaha sarvadehina. That means they are friendly with everybody, good and bad. They don't differentiate. For them, it is just why good and bad they take on the same stand, because they know it is difference in their nature. It's all prakriti. Ultimately, it is the same God who is there, or consciousness, whatever, is the same, but it's the ignorance which is keeping them. So this Ajata Shatru means they have no enemies. Absolutely no enemies. A holy person is called holy, or a sadhu only. Let's use that word. A sadhu is a sadhu because for him there are no enemies. Absolutely. All are his friends. All are the manifestation of the divinity. As I said, so there is no. And Shant, that means very calm. And so he says, Suhrudaha, Ajata Shantaha. And these are all the sadhu bhushana, ornaments for a sadhu. All these qualities are ornaments. And then he says, deep-rooted devotion, mayananyeva bhavena bhakti. So they are deep, they have a deep-rooted devotion towards me, and whatever they do it with firmness. And matkrute, all the work is solely dedicated to me. And then tyakta karmanaha tyakta swajana bandhavaha. So he says he doesn't depend on any person, any of his people for anything. A sadhu always depends on God. He may be a sannyasi, he may not be, but his mentality is this. Holy people or sadhu doesn't mean he's a person who was abandoned like Kardama, he went to the forest. No. Sadhu means anybody. He may be a householder, but he doesn't depend on his people to solve his problem. Do you think any of the people will be able, very few people will be able to solve our problem? Very few can give good suggestions. Very few can give us, because they themselves are ignorant. They are not able to manage their own problems, isn't it? ಕೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ಗೆ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಆಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್, the way they solve the problems is very limited with their limited maturity. So they always depend on him, on the Lord, to solve their problems. So these are the sadhus, and they always speak of my deeds, my excellence, and no affliction affects them. No problems will affect them. Whenever we have problem, he is there. He will take care. This is the attitude of a person who is a bhakta. And a person who is jnani, he says this is all prakriti. This is all maya. Like Vidura. How Vidura used to say everything is his. How Kunti used to say he will solve my problem. Draupadi will say he will solve my problem. All surrender. Vidura says this is maya. Dhritarashtra maya. Unsolvable. Chalo, chod do. And he will go to his own way. So these are totally detached who do not have any selfish motives. You know, there are people who pose as holy sadhus in our world. They may not be truly sadhus. So, in spiritual, this one, so these are people who are attached to nothing except me. So, we must divert our attachment to God. Attachment cannot be given up. Mind wants something to cling to. So, that clinging should be diverted from here to this side. That's all. So, these are the holy people. So, so many qualities he gives, which when we keep repeatedly, you see them. Actually, one more example. I can give examples from my own experience also. We used to go to Ramakrishna Ashram. Then there was a sadhu there. Swami Nirbhayananji only, all of them. Whenever anybody comes, why we are so impressed by him? His whole family, my husband also. So when they come, he will ask from where you have come. What is your this one? He will talk to them in such a friendly way that the other person will be, that was when, so many years ago when he had taken sannyas. So talking to people is an art. Talking to people is, I'm not exaggerating if I tell you that um my husband says even today he has learned to talk to people in the sense a chaprasi, a tender to uh, the director, with everybody. Swamiji used to speak like that, very very affectionately, very compassionately, without any differentiation. There was one driver, with him also he used to speak so well. This is our observation and we learned it. So because of that, my husband says his in the department is respect, he has become very respect worthy because he talks to them. And where did we learn? We learned from this sadhu. So he says that talking to people, we have learned. So when you observe somebody, particularly a sadhu who is who has given such people, particularly these who are totally not attached to anybody. So you learn and you imbibe, and so much of changes start happening in your personality. So company of good sadhus will add lot of value to your life, especially for people like us who are householders. Okay, so he says that, and he says you must meet such people, and when you hear from them, from such people, you will develop faith, delightedness in God, and deep-rooted love when you hear from them. So, saying that, now Devahuti says, what is the true nature of devotion? What is the true bhakti andrenu? What? How can a person, or what state? Very interesting it is. What is the nature of true devotion? Okay, so he gives one beautiful this one statement. He says, when all the power of senses, the power of seeing, power of listening, power of speaking, all this are purified by dedicated action and devotional practice. Two keywords he gives. Dedicated action means dedicated to the Lord, and devotional practice, they get focused on Ishvara with firmness. So, Archala, again for you, Ishvara means Brahman. Okay, we are not talking about Shiva and all. We can think instead of Krishna or Parabrahma can be Shiva also. That way, okay, but it's not referring to Shiva per se. It is Ishvara is a creator with firmness. without any other help, without any other help or motivation. Andre when all the ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ಸ್ತದೆ, we want power, we can see, I can see so many things, but I want to see God. And that is my when the power of senses are purified, all this will be purified. How they can be purified, and how can we get this thought, I want to see him, I want to listen to him, I want to feel him, maybe his idol is there, or I want to smell agarbatti which is kept in front of this one. All my sense organs want everything related to him. So this can happen. This is how they get purified. When they get purified, we start observing and we get delighted. We get so delighted that we want always his company. ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓಕೆ, ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ ಮನೆಗೆ ಅವ್ರು, ನಾನು ಐ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇದರ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಆರ್ ಭಜನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್. ಸೊ this can come by two things. One is dedicated action and devotional practice. So he's giving two. This happens, a true devotion is in such. How it happens? By dedication. Dedication means everything is God's work. Mat karma, he says. Mayi arpita. Mayeva mana adhatsva. Krishna always says, you do it for me, I will take care of you. Means work you do, anything you do, it is to be submitted to him. So this has to be thought throughout the day. And of course, devotional practices such as, what are the devotional practices? You can either meditate, or you can sing, or you can listen. What we are doing now is a devotional practice. Weekly visit, weekly twice visit, that is a devotional practice. You may enhance that every day, dedicate half an hour, 1 hour, what the best possible. Even if you are not able to do that also, work is worship. Do your work like worship. That becomes a devotional practice with his thought in mind. Doing good work, as I repeat this again and again, just doing good work is not enough. But when you do that good work with higher purpose, helping sick people, or teaching, or serving, or doing work at home, our own work is a service to the Lord. If you think it is service to the Lord, then that your indriyas, your all the sense organs, the same sense organs which we are using for external activities, they become purified. They become purified, and the mind gets focused. Actually, in Patanjali Yoga, is a dharana. Dharana means full of concentration. My mind gets so much fixed, any disturbance is happening in my life, anything is going wrong, I do not get perturbed because my mind is fixed there. Why do we get disturbed with our difficulties in life? Tapatrayagala, adi bhautika, adi daivika, adhyatmika. They are called tapatraya, tapatraya, adi daivika, adi bhautika, adhyatmika. So these are the different types of problems. They have put it under 3 categories. Disasters, plane crash, adi bhautika, or maybe that is adi daivika. Adi bhautika is physical. Adhyatmika is internal, our struggle with the difficult emotions and all that. So any of these can happen. So, but if your mind is concentrated, if you have purified, throughout the day you are doing one or the other thing, and whenever you work, you surrender. So with this, the mind does not get perturbed. So devotion is the antidote for suffering. Devotion is the medicine for suffering. Devotion and detachment is the antidote for suffering. Detachment with the objects, and I don't call detachment, not so much of attachment with our relatives, just as these sadhus are doing. And any problem we have, we go to God and we act. We should act, but we go to God, not with any ordinary person. So that link, establishment of that link with God is essential on a daily basis, so that whenever you go to him, you will find some kind of solace. And this is a truth. This is a truth. So many people say. Even recently, Sonu Nigam singer, Hanuman Chalisa, I saw one clipping, how it helped him to overcome Hanuman Chalisa, chanting. That chanting will connect you with the higher. That chanting will connect you with the higher. So he says, and these people are so delighted, Andre, they enjoy. A true devotee will keep enjoying continuously the presence of divinity, whether he is speaking, he is teaching, he is doing his work, practicing, whatever. In between, that thing is there in the background. a true devotee will have 24/7 a background of divinity in his background, and he may be anybody. He may be Modi, he may be Chief Minister, whatever. These people are into various roles, but they are devoted. So these people are so delighted, and they don't feel the burden of that work also, because they say it's not me, Prakriti is doing. I am not the Prakrite kriyamani gunakarmani sarvashah ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. So he thinks normally we think I am doing. ಇಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಗುಣವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. It's not that I should claim the worship. So these people, one interesting point Kapila brings here is, these people may not ask for liberation. They are happy in their own world because they live in that ecstasy. They live in that mood, elevated mood, so much that for them, that state, that journey, that process is much more valuable than mukti. ನೀನ್ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಕೊಡು, ಬಿಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಬಿಡು. This is their attitude. ನಾನು ಭಕ್ತಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಮುಳುಗಿ ಮುಳುಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಇದು that is they're inebriated, intoxicated by this devotion. So that is devotion. That's how he's defining. ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. Then they practice these devotional practices regularly and dedicate their actions to the Lord, and they enjoy. That is, it's not a burden. It's not that I should do puja, I should do japa. Illa, you must enjoy. Actually, even the work also, when we dedicate to if we love God, when we develop more this thing and enjoy everything, then there is no question of any kind of sorrows or disturbances, because we are in a different world all by itself. We form our own world where nothing will disturb. Very difficult, but he is giving a hope. So he says they get all they, and actually they get all they want. What do they want? They just want love of God. They just want divine grace. But in other, if you take the other side of it, whatever they needed for sustenance, for example, let us take example of Swami Vivekananda only. When Swami Vivekananda was, he was born to a very rich family, but his father loses so much of property and all that. When Sri Ramakrishna wants him to become a sannyasi, he says, my sisters are yet to be married. How can I? How can I? Then every time he goes to Kali, he says, go and ask Kali Mata. Go and ask Kali Mata. But when Swami Vivekananda goes to Kali Mata, he says, Amma, give me jnana, bhakti, vairagya. Give me the knowledge, devotion, and renunciation, detachment from everything. Then he comes back. He says, did you ask for your sister's wedding? He says, no, you might have done something. The minute I went there, I forgot for what I went to ask. And in turn, I asked about jnana, bhakti, vairagya. What is this? You are doing something, because they had that relation. Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda used to just argue left, right, center. So Sri Ramakrishna says, go and ask again. Whenever he goes and asks, he's unable to ask about his problems, because he was immersed in that much of love, and he used to be delighted, just like, though he was kind of, you could see him as a person who doesn't have so much of softness. Maybe he's a jnana margi. That was a perception people used to have about him. But he was a great, great, great devotee within. And Swami Vivekananda's songs, I think I will share one link about it. Movie is there on him. Recently they have that, 24. I think very beautiful songs he used to sing. He was a great singer also. So he goes there and he asks, and nothing happens. So, but eventually all his problems were solved. That is what the books have told. We have read about him. So he didn't have to, his role was much larger. It was not just sit and meditate. He used to act. He used to go to the, motivating people and elevating. And he was one of the key persons who brought India out of its poverty in another way. So, and he brought our spirituality known to the entire world, which was in slumber at that time, actually. He was the one who brought out, and he was the one who started the same philosophy. Ashrunvantu Vishwe Amritasya Putraha. I said this in Gita class also, Bhagavad Gita. So he used to say, realize your potential. So these are the people who, even in fact, Swami Vivekananda also says, you are selfish if you are asking for a mukti. Don't ask for mukti. Try to bring everybody up. So these are the people who are inebriated in one form of devotion. And devotees who give up the desire uh, for, I mean, they do not want to come back. If a devotee, if a person doesn't want to come back to this world or to another world, so such people, for them, I am the only one who can liberate them, he says. Kapila says. Kapila is an incarnation of Vishnu. So he says, except for me, none can relieve them from this world, and none can relieve anybody from fear of death. So these are the things he talks about um, devotion. And only one pointed devotion to me, uh, if he develops, again, he has repeated this statement, if you develop one pointed devotion to the Lord, in spite of our day to day activities, in spite of that, then the uh, at least liberation is complete freedom from miseries. But during the devotion itself will make him immune to problems. He says, he is not perturbed because he's totally surrendering to me. So again, he has emphasized and highlighted that devotion is doing, I mean, it takes care of all our sorrows. One pointed devotion will take care of all our sorrows. Sorrows means things which are not going as expected. Things which are not going as expected, that is sorrow. So if you have one pointed devotion, then it will all be gone. I mean, it will be there. We become immune to that. And if you know, at that point of time, no, again I'll bring this context. When the problems are there, instead of getting involved in them and ಅದೇ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೇ ಅದೇ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋ ಬದಲು, you turn towards devotion. It's very tough, I know, but you want to forget, but it comes in front of you. But if you turn that, and if you have already built that connection with God, he will ensure that that doesn't affect you. And over a period of time, no dukkha, no sukha is permanent. And over a period of time, that just passes by. So as I said, this too shall pass. Happiness also will pass. Sorrow also will pass. We are not there. We have come outside that and we are devoting ourselves to the Lord. So Kapila says, this way, this is the true devotion. True devotion is spiritual practices, total surrender, and dedicated work, all work dedicated to Him. One pointed devotion, not being perturbed. Anything comes, Krishna, take care of me. This is how we should direct ourselves rather than those, how we spoke about sadhus, rather than others. We just go toward to him for any solution, right? Because another statement, one of my our Mataji only told, some statement has come. It seems the root solution to all mental problems comes from spiritual solution alone. Mental health problems, a spirituality, divinity ಇಂದನೇ ಬರೋದದು. Haven't you all experienced? Do you agree with this? Do you agree with this? Mental problem ಗೆ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ, somebody may give a solution which is temporary, but spiritual solutions, you experience that when you surrender to him and when you get something that stands permanently, because again and again you go to him. So only spiritual. So therefore, Kapila also says devotion means total firmness, total surrender, total single pointed devotion and dedicated work. So everything is focusing towards him. So that is a bhakta. That is true devotion. Devahuti is very curious, just like Arjuna asking Krishna. Now, the last, I think we'll quickly finish this. Way of liberation, way of release, chapter 27. So that is the, I will not get into 26th chapter, talks about the Purusha, Prakriti, and all categories of creation. All categories of creation. Idana, we have already told similar things, so I will not get into the details. So he explains to Devahuti about how the Purusha is nothing but Atman. If you watch, I actually referred many talks today for this, but there are controversial. Purusha is different than Atman. All those things are there. So, but basically, I will come. So, we have discussed that there is Parabrahma who is totally still. I'll just quickly recapitulate, and then At that state, um, because because of yoga maya, develops a will to create the world. That will comes when there is an imbalance between sattva, rajas, tamas. Imbalance means they are in some proportions, major being sattva. All three should be there for any activity to happen. So that tilts, and then Mahattattva comes. Mahattattva, then Ahankara, then all the three gunas. From these gunas, you get uh, different, entities such as Pancha Mahabhuta, then Pancha Tanmatra, and Tanmatra, and Indriya, Buddhi, Manas, all that will come. Karmendriya, Jnanendriya, all those are derived from this Ahankara, Mahattattva, like that. And each one, they describe what Sattva will do, what we have seen that, what Tamas will do, and what Rajas will do. So ultimately, the entire material matter is created. So that he speaks. Now we talk about what is Purusha and what is Prakriti. This we discussed in the Bhagavad Gita class also. Similar thing comes here. Purusha is he is nothing but the Atman without Nirguna. Purusha is a consciousness. Consciousness is there in entire universe. How is that consciousness? A Purusha heng kanistana antandre Purusha mattu then with Yoga Maya he has created the entire Prakriti. The body, the mind, the buddhi, everything is part of that Prakriti. ಎಷ್ಟು beautifully Swami Sarvapriyananda, today again I heard him in another talk. ಅವ್ರು ಎಷ್ಟು ಚಂದ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ರಿಲೇಷನ್, ನಮಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕಿದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಆಸ್ ಐ ಸೆಡ್, when we when we are too depressed, or when we are confused or disappointed, and when we go to God or when we meditate, we get a solution. ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರ್ತದೆ? ಅದು ಬ್ರೈನ್ ನಿಂದ ಬರುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಇಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಡೀಪರ್ consciousness, actually. That consciousness, and we have discussed how consciousness actually is shining. This consciousness makes entire Prakriti to be shining, and it guides. It shines, it guides, it gives life to the Prakriti. Otherwise, Prakriti alone cannot. It doesn't know where to go on there. So he has compared this consciousness to be, a blind man is Prakriti. A lame man who cannot walk but who can see is Purusha. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಕಣ್ಣಿದೆ, ನಡಿಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. I know what to do, but I cannot. I have to go here, there. Just imagine. He wants to go and get the things done. He is unable to go. There is one more person. He can do everything, but he cannot see. That means the consciousness is the highest level of highest. There is nothing beyond that which guides the Prakriti. But when that consciousness enters this body, it becomes a jiva, and along with that, the Prakriti quickly creates buddhi, ahankara, and all. It gets trapped, and it is in constant effort to release itself from the bondage. Am I clear? Every class I am becoming little clearer. Clear ansta? There is a consciousness, there is a Prakriti in the body also. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಕೈ, ಕಾಲು, ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಬಾಡಿ, ಮೈಂಡ್, ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ is part of the material nature. Outside also it is like that. But behind that, something which is guiding the entire process is the consciousness. It is guiding, it is sustaining, it is making the existence possible. Okay? Because it guides that Prakriti. Prakriti without consciousness is nothing. And Prakriti keeps on changing. In our mind, thoughts adu idu barta irtade. But consciousness is an observer. It is just an isolated. And our whole aim should be to realize that consciousness which is there, which is functioning. Any thought comes, it gets processed, but it gets the reaction by the light, by the chetana. It's also called chetana of that consciousness. Without that, nothing is possible. Without that, nothing is possible. So Padmini, you should tell me about this consciousness, today's concept. Are you there, Padmini?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I agree with you. That's the simplest way.
Little more clarity
Yes.
on conscious. This is a very vast topic, and not so easy. So some people say Purusha is multiple. Today even Saropriyan somewhere passing he said multiple Purushas. Actually, the Atma is one, but it appears as multiple in different people because of their different gunas. Because Jiva is trapped by those gunas, so it appears as multiple. So, anyways, for us to understand that this Prakriti is made of gunas, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಪಿಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಅವನಿಗೆ so in our body Purusha comes in Prakriti and he becomes entirely attached ಅಂದ್ರೆ he becomes trapped rather, and once it becomes in this no he fails to. Yeah, Suvarchala,
Ma'am, I have one doubt.
tell, yeah, yeah.
If we are in, if the fetus, I mean, when the organism fetus is in the mother's womb, no,
Hmm.
then that time it is inside. So, I mean, in the spirituality, they say the fetus will not get exposed to the gunas. Is it correct, ma'am?
Fetus will not expose to. Why so? It will be good. No, I don't agree with this. The minute it is part of Prakriti, it has to have gunas.
Yes.
Anything other than Purusha has gunas, whether it is living beings or non-living beings. No, I
Uh,
don't agree. I don't agree. It has
okay.
gunas. What gunas? Let me search and come back. It may
Yeah.
not have buddhi. No, listen. If it is in a primitive state, it is in a very gross form. No, it has not got. We think that it doesn't have a buddhi. It is not using its buddhi and all that. Who knows, ma? Because there is always any function in a human body or any living being or even non-living. They say there is an interaction of how does a fetus survive? It's growing. No, there is manifestation of the conscious there. It is shining, body is growing, so prakriti is working means guna has to be there. The the um, the very definition of prakriti is it is guna. Very definition of purusha or consciousness is it is nirguna.
Hmm.
So prakriti means guna, so I don't agree. No,
Yeah.
it
Yes, ma'am.
doesn't have a, it may not have free will, it appears. I should get back to you, because like how we have a choice, does the fetus have a choice? It's a big question. We assume that the brain is not developed, so it cannot have, but buddhi is a part of prakriti, and we don't know. Brain is also part of prakriti, but we don't know. So fetus also has guna, whether it has a free will or not, we have to explore. But anything in prakriti cannot be without gunas.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And
Right?
yes, ma'am.
Ah,
Yes, yes. And one more, they say the fetus will remember the previous memories, previous Janma memories, and the God also, it seems. So he'll
maybe
think of,
that we don't have a proof, Suvarshala.
yeah, yeah.
So until
And
we have some in Bhagavad Purana and all, they don't Bhagavad Gita also, they don't discuss, they don't elaborate or insist. I mean, so far it has not come.
mm,
When do we actually lose the memory of previous janma is not told. Probably it may not be so important for us also, no?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, when
I
we were small, also this fetus will smile. It remembers what is there in the previous birth, therefore it is smiling. So all those are we don't have any evidence or any document so far. I'm saying I
yes.
haven't seen anybody even nowadays. So many come on the podcast, so many people with good reference, with good backup, with all Puranas and all, no, or any granthas, but they don't talk about this. So I'm not sure,
Yes, ma'am.
isn't it? And we it may not you know it may not be relevant for us.
Yeah, I
In
mean,
what way does it
there,
affect how anybody's evolution? No, isn't
yes,
it?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a fact. If it has any relevance, maybe we should see. But anyways, coming back to this, so he says, Kapila says, this Purusha is there as a consciousness, Prakriti is there. This we should keep revising again and again, because we are supposed to reach there. And therefore, now he says, so they feel helpless the jiva comes, no, pure consciousness, very happy state. But quickly the prakriti will trap him, and the jiva becomes as it were. It's actually pure, but it appears that it starts getting identified with this body and all that. It forgets its true nature. Now we are referring to the jiva, which is Purusha, with attached to the prakriti. Please mind you, though it is completely free, we are talking about the jiva, which is a bundle of all this ahankara, buddhi, and all. Now it is restless, like you and I. We are restless, no? Ella sari idrunu, something is not there. We feel happy as a spiritual seekers. We feel happy when we are with God. That means we are going closer to the consciousness. So they feel. So then the jiva becomes helpless, miserable, and gets into the cycle of birth and death. And then, and not only that, Kapila says, and then it gets carried away. And if it is not practicing, then it can be born in lower species, middle species, higher species. That also he says. It can be taking birth in many of this one. And then he talks about the state of dream. Padmini had raised that, no? Dream and alertness. So in dream, what happens is you identify. So this Purusha is an experiencer. Purusha is an experiencer. Prakriti is the objects of experience. Little bit it will be complex today. We don't have stories. So in the dream state, what happens is, now this is very interesting. They compare this state, what we are now, this Prakriti, takes us to a state of Maya. Maya means ignorance. Just as, so we get so much hurt, so much affected, the same Jivatma, it will start experiencing all this as though it is real. Actually, it is not real. It is compared to the dream state where when we are sleeping and when we dream, we experience so many things. Somebody kills us and all. The minute we become aware, oh, it was just a dream. Have you seen people crying in dreams? ಮಲ್ಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಳ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡಿರೆ ನೀವು ಹತ್ತಿರೇನು ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ?
Yes,
Have you
ma'am.
tried?
In my
You
hostel,
get up crying,
in my hostel, my roommate will cry, ma'am.
isn't
It
it?
is very terrible, actually. Amma.
Isn't
Horrific.
it? So they have become so engrossed in the dream state itself that the dream itself they take it as a real and they start crying. This life, now they come out, oh my God, that was a dream. Thank God I did not die. Thank God my mother is alive. Thank God. So we realize when we become awake. Now this state, what we are in, is also compared to a dream state wherein we have not realized that this is all Prakriti. Actually, I am the pure consciousness, Satchidananda, Satchit Ananda. I am that consciousness which is totally free from anything, everything. It is an ocean of happiness. But I have wrongly identified. I have wrongly identified with this. This is a true Advaitic philosophy wherein we are supposed, and the minute you become enlightened, you will say, oh my God, I was in such a bad, wrong notion. I identified myself to be in this Prakriti, my brain, my mind, my thoughts. No, 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 I am this. That becomes a real awakened state. So this relationship, no, one more example I shall repeat. It is like a screen on which the movie is running. The screen will not get perturbed. The screen can be considered as an observer. That is a consciousness. It is observing, but it is required for the movie to run, no? Because otherwise, without the screen, how it will run? So consciousness is unperturbed, unattached, and we are. That is our true reality. And therefore, he says that is what is to be realized. Then she asks how to attain that. Then he says you should follow some disciplines. This is similar to Patanjali's pathways. There are some steps I will quickly run through. One must practice. Is it okay? Another 5-7 minutes. Is it okay? Indira, Agboda for others? Is it okay to go? We can finish off this one. Yeah. So he says, first thing is practice yoga. See, this is very interesting. One is going towards bhakti. He has combined a very beautiful Kapila Gita. I'm really enjoying, and again, thanks to Indira, I'm enjoying this because I have to tell, I can understand, and I go into some kind of pleasure actually. So he says, practice yoga. inward concentration with control of sense organs, disciplined life. My friend, yesterday we went for a we four friends. We had gone for an outing, one day out, ladies' day out. We went. So the way she was saying, no, 6 o'clock she will get up. She runs friends barely, guest barely. Anybody. She has a son and daughter-in-law, of course, who are staying separately. But this girl, she has a routine, pakka, not even one day. Even if she goes to Australia, US, and all that, 6 to 7:30 is my time. I get up, go for a walk, then do yoga, then do pranayama, then do that. So 7:30 she comes back home. That disciplined life should be there. Intense devotion. Again, he says now to realize that self, this Jivatma is bound for all of us. And we are trying very hard through Bhagavad Gita and all that. We are trying to get peace, but our ultimate is to reach that state. I told you that example, no? We are aspiring for smaller things. Oh, I want peace of mind. I want harmony in my surroundings. No, everything is Prakriti. Get rid of that and go back to your original state of consciousness. How to do? Practice yoga, devotion, empathy, and love for all. No exploitation. These are the words he has used. No exploitation. This is something which is very. Do we exploit somebody? Generally exploit ಮಾಡ್ತೀವ ಸಟ್ಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಬೋದು or manipulation. Exploitation means trying to get our own selfish motives done under the cover of trying to do something good for them. Try to see, you think about it. We want to get something done, but we try to put a pose or something like that. Then we are not genuine. We are not genuine. That means not exploitation means you must be truthful. Then non-attachment and continence. Continence means brahmacharya. For all. One is bodily, this one. And silence, practice silence, he says. Today also Sarva Priyananda was saying, don't keep on talking and don't use jargon of words when you talk. Use silence for communication. When you are silent, when you are smiling, when you use a body language, that is more preferred. In many places you can avoid that. And discharge duties conscientiously, andre being aware of your responsibilities, and moderation in eating, and devotional retreats in solitude. These are all Kapila's words. Word by word, I have taken from the translation given by Swami Tapasyananda. See, look at this. Devotional retreat. So, even Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say, take a break and spend one entire day Nirjana Pradesha, where nobody is there around. Maybe resort, whatever. But spend one entire day, once in a way, in solitude. Be friend to yourself. Do whatever you want, but don't be in company of anybody. Why? What happens is our externalization comes. It reduces. So devotional retreat in solitude, and then calmness, and don't be too much attached to your kith and kin. Don't be too much attached, which is really good, because when we are attached, no, then what happens is their problems become our problems. We are comfortable, but we cannot see others suffering. It could be anybody. We are able to take care of our problems. Our problems, even these become our problems. We don't have. If somebody hurts me, I'm able to manage. But somebody hurts my mother, I'm not able to take. Somebody hurts my son, I will not be able to take, because of our over attachment. We don't have this thought that they are independent. Let them explore. If we are too much attached, we take their problems on our head and keep worrying. We know how to solve our problems, but we are thinking they are not able to solve their problems, so we become worried. So if you are attached to your kith and kin, then all these things become. And reflection, always meditate on Prakriti, Purusha, what am I, who am I, and transcending the state of waking, dream, and sleep. Actually, one more state, this is our waking state, which is we are living in the world of illusion, confusion. And dream is dream only. That totally we are aware that we are in dream. Sleep is a complete state of, you should sleep well. Why? The Prakriti is still, it seems. There's nothing, only pure consciousness. In sleep, there's nothing, no interaction. We are in such a deep sleep where there is absolutely no Prakriti functioning. So experience the inner Atman, he says, just as the eyes see the sun. Experience the inner Atman just as the eyes see the sun. When you close your eyes, when you do this, then that spark, they say, spark of divinity appears. When you open your eyes and see the sun, it is as clear as that. So this you have to experience, he says. Then he says, utmost faith you should have. And one more he has told that is little complex. We'll take it in the next class. His consciousness, we must understand that consciousness is the guide, and he or the consciousness is a sustainer. And that consciousness is within me. We should have a conviction about that and keep meditating. It is a wonderful experience, actually, the process I'm saying. After this consciousness thing, I feel we should meditate more and we should close our eyes. Bhakti also takes there. Somebody asked, it seems, what bhakti we are doing? Is it dualism? Yes. Initially, in the next chapter, he tells Saguna Brahma also, how we have to meditate. And at one point of time, Krishna tells us that you and I are the same. I am the same pure consciousness who is within you. And then we realize, oh my God, I thought all the time you're different. No. He himself, there's one path. But ultimately, it is Advaitic only. That is the ultimate stage of liberation. So that completes today's this one. And if you give me 2 minutes, I will sing one song which is totally, Adhyatmic. Sorry, I'm taking your time. Agboda? Antir Papa. Not to disturb me, you will tell yes, sir. Okay. Are you all there? Kavita, Padmini, Chaitali? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay? Yeah. Indira knows this song probably. This is in Kannada, and I hope I can I will tell the meaning also. This song says how to live in this world. Just in alignment with what Kapila says. ಹ್ಯಾಂಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ, ಹ್ಯಾಂಗೆ ಬರೆದಿತ್ತೋ ಪ್ರಾಚೀನದಲ್ಲಿ. ವಾಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ರಿಟನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಏನ್ಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಚರ್ಸ್, ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಲಿವ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. ಹೌ ಪಕ್ಷಿ ಅಂಗಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕೂತಂತೆ ಆ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾರಿ ಹೋದಂತೆ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಆಸ್ ದ ಬರ್ಡ್ ಫ್ಲೈಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಬಾಲ್ಕನಿ, and then it will be there for a while and goes. So that balcony is our life. Just as that bird came, it sat there and then it just flew. So it's a very temporary, transient place where we are. Temporary but significant. We should understand. Means without taking any other things into our mind, we should just feel it's a journey and move. Nana pariyalle sante neradante, nana panthada hididu hodante. It is just like one sante. Sante means marketplace. Different people come to sell their property, sell their commodities and all that. So we are buying this. One person sells banana, one person sells some groceries, like that. There are variety of people, and this whole world is like a marketplace. And he also compares ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಆಡಿ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿದಂತೆ ಆಟ ಸಾಕೆಂದು ಅಳಿಸಿపోದಂತೆ. They build a children, no, they build on the, let's say they on the beach, they just make a house made of sand and then they just smash it. It's just like that. It is not, no, we should not give so much importance. Then one more example he says, like ವಸತಿಕಾರನು ವಸತಿ ಕಂಡಂತೆ ಹೊತ್ತಾರೆದ್ದು ಹೊರಟು ಹೋದಂತೆ. It's like a person staying in a lodging, in a hotel. He comes for a visit, he stays there, and next day he goes. So like that we have come here. And then samsara pashava neene bidisaya kamsari purandara vithala raya. So quickly I will sing. I was tempted to sing because it aligns. ಪ್ರಾಚೀನದಲ್ಲಿ ಹ್ಯಾಂಗೆ ಬರೆದಿತ್ತೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ, ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ. ಪಕ್ಷಿ ಅಂಗಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕೂತಂತೆ ಪಕ್ಷಿ ಅಂಗಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕೂತಂತೆ ಆ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾರಿ ಹೋದಂತೆ ಆ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾರಿ ಹೋದಂತೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನಾ ಪರಿಯಲ್ಲೇ ಸಂತೆ ನೆರೆದಂತೆ ನಾನಾ ಪರಿಯಲ್ಲೇ ಸಂತೆ ನೆರೆದಂತೆ ನಾನಾ ಪಂಥದ ಹಿಡಿದು ಹೋದಂತೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಆಡಿ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿದಂತೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಆಡಿ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿದಂತೆ ಆಟ ಸಾಕೆಂದು ಅಳಿಸಿ ಪೋದಂತೆ ಆಟ ಸಾಕೆಂದು ಅಳಿಸಿ ಪೋದಂತೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ವಸತಿಕಾರನು ವಸತಿ ಕಂಡಂತೆ ವಸತಿಕಾರನು ವಸತಿ ಕಂಡಂತೆ ಹೊತ್ತಾರೆದ್ದು ಹೊರಟು ಹೋದಂತೆ ಹೊತ್ತಾರೆದ್ದು ಹೊರಟು ಹೋದಂತೆ ಹೊತ್ತಾರೆದ್ದು ಹೊರಟು ಹೋದಂತೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಸಾರ ಪಾಶವ ನೀನೇ ಬಿಡಿಸಯ್ಯ ಆ ಸಂಸಾರ ಪಾಶವ ನೀನೇ ಬಿಡಿಸಯ್ಯ ಕಂಸಾರಿ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠ್ಠಲರಾಯ ಕಂಸಾರಿ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠ್ಠಲರಾಯ ಕಂಸಾರಿ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠ್ಠಲರಾಯ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಚೀನದಲ್ಲಿ ಹ್ಯಾಂಗೆ ಬರೆದಿತ್ತೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ. I hope meaning was clear.
Yes, yes, very meaningful. Very meaningful.
Thank you. Because we assume everything is so important. It is important to follow Kapila. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕಪಿಲಂದು ಮಾಡಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. Because we don't know ಎಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ತೀವೋ ಏನೋ. After so many species, no, we have got this birth. So we better to take it very lightly and meditate upon that Purusha. It will be very interesting. So thank you for staying for such a long time. Any questions you have, or we can wind up? I think we have crossed that time. Any questions, please note down. Next time we can consider. Just stop this recording.